You know that feeling you get when you're in a city? That unique fingerprint it has? It's something you can feel, but you can't always put your finger on it. Well, today, we're going on a quest to find the very soul of the city. So, what is it that gives a city its identity? I mean, think about your favorite city. What makes it it? Is it the food, the people, the architecture? We all kind of know what it means, but finding the real answer? Well, that's surprisingly tricky.
I mean, is it just about the buildings? You look at a classic London street and it's got this whole vibe, right? Or you see the traditional architecture in Beijing and it's just completely different. So yeah, buildings are obviously a huge part of it, but as we're about to find out, a city's character runs way deeper than just bricks and mortar.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at a city's signature through the eyes of a machine. Then, we'll flip the script and explore it from the human side, the resident's soul. After that, we'll see where code and culture collide. And finally, we'll try to answer that big question: what really makes a place feel like home? All right, first up, we're going to see our cities through the unblinking eye of artificial intelligence. This is a totally objective, data-driven shot at trying to measure something that feels, well, unmeasurable: a city's unique architecturally DNA. So, a team of researchers gave an AI a massive job. They fed it thousands and thousands of images from Google Street View from cities all over the world. But here's the really clever part. They didn't show it the Eiffel Tower or the Statue of Liberty. Nope. They focused on the typical buildings, the everyday houses, shops, and apartments that make up the real fabric of a city.
So how did the AI get so good at this? Well, it didn't just glance at the whole picture. It was taught to zero in on the most information-packed parts of each photo, what the researchers called regions of interest. Think about it. It's looking at detailed window frames, unique brick patterns, stuff like that. It basically learned to ignore the boring parts, like a plain wall or an empty patch of sky, and focus on the details that really give a place its character. And the results were pretty amazing. The AI could correctly guess which city a building was from with 59% accuracy. Now you might think, that's not perfect, but hold on. If you were just guessing randomly, you'd only get it right about 8% of the time. So 59% is a huge leap. It proved the computer was genuinely seeing distinct architectural styles.
Okay, so the AI was accurate. That's cool. But the really important question is, what did it actually learn along the way? What hidden stories did it dig up just by looking at pictures of our buildings?
And this, right here, is the big reveal. Based on everything it learned, the AI created this. It's basically a family tree for cities. It's not grouping them by where they are on a map, but by how similar their buildings look. The shorter the line between two cities on this tree, the more they look alike architecturally.
And the patterns it found were just incredible. Look at this. All the German cities are huddled together. Former British colonies like Johannesburg and Sydney, bam, grouped together. The same thing happens with former Spanish colonies like Mexico City and Buenos Aires. And you see all the East Asian locations linked up. The AI had zero historical training, but it rediscovered centuries of culture and colonialism just by looking at buildings.
What this machine really proved is that a city's identity isn't just a feeling. It can be objectively measured. A city's history is literally written on its walls in a visual language that a computer can now read.
But wait a minute. That's only half the story, right? A city isn't just a collection of buildings we look at. It's a place we live. So what about the human side of all this? This brings us to the resident's soul. And this is the big challenge to that first idea. Is that architectural DNA the whole story? Or is there something more, something deeply human that you just can't capture in a photograph? So, a second really fascinating study introduces this idea of city soul. And look at how they define it. It's not just the physical stuff. It's also the functional things, like how well the city works, and most importantly, the emotional characteristics that shape how we connect to a place. And that's what's so cool about this research. It's trying to build a bridge between two totally different worlds. You've got urban planning on one side, which is all about the physical city. And then you have psychology on the other, which is all about our relationship with that city. This study brings them together by actually going out and asking thousands of residents about their pride, their sense of belonging, and their personal attachment to where they live.
This quote from one of the residents in the study just hits the nail on the head. They talk about the physical things, right? Beautiful houses, lovely parks. But notice where it ends up. It all leads to an emotional conclusion. I feel comfortable and at home here. That feeling, That's the soul.
Okay, so now we have these two really powerful but really different ways of looking at a city. The objective eye of the machine versus the subjective heart of the resident. So let's see where they finally come together.
Let's just put them side by side for a second. You've got the machine's gaze on the left, finding these objective, historical patterns in the buildings. And on the right, you have the resident's soul, which is all about measuring that subjective feeling, where our emotional connection, our pride, and our sense of belonging is what defines the place for us. So, in our own minds, which one matters more? Well, the data from the study gives us a pretty clear answer. When the researchers broke down what shapes our perception of a city's soul, they found that our personal, emotional relation to the city was by far the biggest piece of the puzzle. The physical stuff, the city's characteristics, was definitely important, but our feelings about the place were more than twice as influential.
Seriously, let that sink in for a moment. Our emotional connection, our sense of pride, belonging, attachment, is more than twice as important as the actual physical features in defining a city's soul for us. It's not just about what the city is, it's about what it means to us. And here it is. This is the absolute kicker, the moment where it all clicks into place. So how do these two ideas connect? Well, remember the specific architectural features the AI thought were so important? The second study found that things like beautiful buildings, statues and symbols, and visible art are the exact same things that have the strongest direct impact on our personal perception of a place's soul. The very things the machine sees are what fuel our human feelings. It's all connected.
So, what does this all boil down to? What's the final takeaway on what truly makes a place a home?
It turns out it's all one big, powerful feedback loop. It starts with our shared history and culture shaping the physical look of our city. Then, as we saw, an AI can actually see and measure those patterns. Step 3, those physical forms turn around and shape our human experience, our emotional connection. And finally, that feeling of soul reinforces the city's identity, which influences what we decide to build next. It's this constant, living conversation between a place and its people.
And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating thought. If we're getting this much better at understanding and even measuring this complex mix of physical form and human feeling, does that mean we can get better at designing it? Can we intentionally build cities that aren't just functional but are truly meaningful, cities that actually make us happier to call them home?